Thank you very much, and thank you very much to the team for allowing E79 to present today. I'll talk to you about E79 Gold Mines. We'll just have a look. This is our standard disclaimer. E79 Gold Mines is an early-stage West Australian-focused explorer. We have a strong technical management team with a history of discovery and successful development through companies such as Integra and Staveley. The ground we have two sizable ground locations in WA. These are both in prolific greenstone belts, big gold-bearing zones of Australia. We have a very active strategy of spending our money in the ground in the aid of a new discovery. I'll just show you our corporate slide here. The company, led by the Chair, Chris Cairns and Peter Ironside, they were with Integra and Staveley, and Deborah Lord rounds out the board. The corporate information on the right, you can see our cash position on the top right. We still have $6 million in the bank, which is a good amount of money as we accelerate our exploration programs. We have two projects within Western Australia. We have about 350 square kilometres in the Laverton tectonic zone. This tectonic zone is about a 250 kilometre long deep-seated zone. It has about 30 million ounces of gold endowment, and our tenements sit in the southern area of this zone. Our second project is in the Murchison Goldfields. The Murchison Goldfields are similarly endowed with over 30 million ounces of gold. Focusing in on our Laverton South project, you can see shaded in grey the Laverton tectonic zone. The table on the left shows the large deposits that make up this zone, highlighted really by the Granny Smith, Wallaby and Sunrise Dam. These are world-class deposits, over 25 million ounces just in there. You can see on the map, and I'll use the laser pointer, that these big deposits are clustered south of the town of Laverton. So while the north and central part of the Laverton tectonic zone has been well explored, the southern area, where E79 is located, has received far less exploration attention. While it definitely is underexplored, it has had recent exploration success. There's been two new discoveries, Breaker's Lake Row Gold Project and Ramelius's Rebecca Gold Project. These have both been discovered in the last 7 years. They're both plus million ounce gold discoveries. They're both within 20 kilometres of E79's tenements. Within our Laverton South project, we have two exploration areas, Pingeon and Lake Yindana. Combined, these two areas mean we're exposed to the north and south strike extents of Ramelius's Lake Rebecca project, as well as the north and south strike extents of the Anglo-Saxon mine. This was being mined earlier this year. One of the appeals of the Pingeon ground is it's had multiple phases of historic exploration, and this allowed the previous owner to undertake a very detailed review of the historic data, their data, and they've come up with 4 exploration targets. These are walk-up drill targets. The company so far has drilled target 3 and target 4. It's worth seeing on the map, and you can see in this yellow zone through here. So target 1 and target 3 form a 15 kilometre long stratigraphic zone with gold anomalism all the way along. Within that zone, but off our tenement, drilling in 2011 hit 33 metres at 3.1 grams per tonne from only 51 metres depth. So we know that these rocks are capable of thick, high-grade, shallow gold mineralisation. Target 3 is where our company has been most focused. We've drilled over 250 air core holes into this project, and what we've found is about a 2.6 kilometre long zone of anomalous gold. This gold sits partially within at the bottom of and underneath a regional paleo channel. Being underneath the paleo channel is very important because this is in situ gold anomalism, and that means it has a depth potential. Within this 2.6 kilometres, we have 3 areas that we're focusing in on: the southern zone, the central zone, and the western zone. The southern zone is very new. This was announced to the market only last week. It's characterised by 2 zones of plus 3 gram per tonne gold that sit on adjacent drill lines, 300 metres apart. These 2 areas of gold sit on an ultramafic contact. The northern line has gold to the end of hole position, and it's supported by pathfinder elements as well. So the gold sits there, it sits in that contact zone, it's associated with quartz, it's got copper, lead, tin and tungsten as its pathfinder elements. We have tested this same stratigraphic position 300 metres further to the south. These assays are still in the lab. We have, even though it was only announced to the market last week, we put an RC rig under there already, and that drilling is underway. The central zone is a 600 metre long and 120 metre wide zone of a thick anomalous gold to the end of hole positions. Again, this target has gold pathfinder elements associated with it, but there's two other geological features that we're very excited about. The gold sits within a demagnetised zone within the regional magnetics. In these instances, a gold-bearing fluid comes through the rocks and it destroys the magnetite in the host rock, leading to a small zone with the opposite magnetism as you would expect. Also, the end-of-hole data from both our logging and from some spectral work shows that the alteration systems are being driven by a large-scale fluid flow system. In this instance, an oxidised and a reduced fluid are meeting. Where they mix, we form a redox zone and the gold precipitates out. So along with finding some thick zones of anomalous gold, we're starting to understand the system and the drivers behind it. This is also having RC drilling drilled underneath it. The western zone, this sits parallel to the central zone, and it's a little bit narrower and a little bit higher grade. This one sits wholly within the basalts. The central target sits on a granite contact. This one is wholly within, a bit more structurally controlled, and we'll be following this one up as well. On the Pingeon ground, we've also recently drilled up in the north at target 4, 95 drill air core holes. This was testing a zone of a magnetic high. Previous drilling had identified a 2.5 kilometre long zone of anomalous gold, and we've come in and we're infilling some of that and extending it, particularly through on either side areas of this demagnetisation. This magnetic high runs to the south through the historic Pingeon goldfields. We've got over 8 kilometres of historic workings and 2 modern open pits. To the north, this runs into the high-grade Patricia deposit, the open pits there. So it's a very prospective area. We've drilled 95 holes. These are all in the lab awaiting assay. We should be getting them back end of this year, start of next year. Still within the Laverton South project is our Lake Yindana tenements. This is an excellent opportunity, exploration opportunity for the company. This area was mapped as a less prospective granite, and this really discouraged historic exploration. The tenements go for over 215 square kilometres, and there's only 65 drill holes within that. Of that 65 drill holes, half of those weren't assayed for gold or gold pathfinder elements. So while the area was mapped as a granite, when we looked at the regional magnetics, we could see some lineations which hinted at a potential greenstone sitting either within or slightly under the granites. We had a review of the minor amount of historic drilling and found that they had intersected greenstone lithologies. So we knew that there was greenstone there. The company undertook a gravity survey, which is really effective in delineating the greenstone from the granite, and we found over 25 kilometres of untested greenstone within the target area. Along with that greenstone target, we also found intrusions, circular features in the gravity, which are interpreted to be intrusions through the greenstone, which create additional drill targets. By unearthing this new greenstone in the southern part of one of the world's most prolific greenstone-bearing gold belts, we've essentially created a new search sphere. And history tells us that the earlier you are in a search sphere, the greatest chance you have for exploration success. The company's second projects are up in the Murchison. The Murchison gold fields are also endowed with over 30 million ounces of gold. We have large early stage projects over 500 square kilometres. We have exposed to about 90 kilometres of strike of the Big Bell Shear. The Big Bell Shear hosts the biggest gold mine in our region, the Big Bell Mine, and it's associated with a greenstone. Again, we used gravity to try and really target in where this greenstone goes, And some previous companies, BHP and Newcrest, have drilled parts of this greenstone. In their drilling, they've found anomalous gold that was just never followed up. One of the issues with exploring in this part of the world is a well-developed hard cap, which sits just below the surface and stops the expression of the underlying geology from reaching the surface. This makes your traditional soils quite ineffective. To combat this, the company has, utilising a new technique developed by the CSIRO called ultrafine soils. This has the ability to see potential mineralisation that comes through that hardstone cap. The company did a trial of this technique in the area, and we found gold in 3 of 4 locations, and that's given us the confidence to undertake a 3,000 sample program, which is underway at the moment. The previous companies, BHP and Newcrest, they did the early work, they did the initial drilling, they found the anomalism, they didn't follow it up. So the company has a great opportunity to come in here and drill these targets and create our own data sets and create more targets on top of that. So just a quick summary. The company is new. We listed in October 2021, 2021. So we're about 15 months old. We've got a good ground holding. We've been very busy. We've just finished the aircore program. We've got follow-up RC drilling happening right now. We've got auger drilling up at our northern locations. We've got a big front of news flow coming through once all those samples come through the lab, and then we'll do it all again next year. So thank you very much.